Good morning, I'm Dave Kaufman. Hope you had a great weekend. Lit the candles, getting ready for Christmas. Apparently, it is the beginning of Festivus, which is for the rest of this as well. We got a good panel this morning and a great show on the Big Five. Joining me, special advisor to the mayor from Projet Montreal, Jimmy Zoubris. Good morning, Jimmy.
Good morning, Dave.
And the founder and editor of Montreal Community Contact, Egbert. Gaye. Good morning, Egbert.
Morning.
You guys ready to go?
Yeah.
All right. So let's start with the premier, François Legault. A new Léger poll for Le Devoir found that 63% of respondents have a good opinion of the premier. Egbert, is this the honeymoon that will never end?
And you know what? It will eventually once they have a choice. Right now, Quebecers have very little choice. I mean, it's all about François Legault and more François Legault. Look, once the Liberals start showing some sort of position, try to put forward a personality. Once Justin Trudeau established some sort of presence in Quebec also, then people would have a choice. Right now, it's all about François Legault, and it's all mostly Francophone support that he has, because you look at the Anglophone community, and we saw a couple of months ago that, I think 75% of Anglophones were kind of shaky in his government, and his government, because of all the things that he's done to the English-speaking community here in Quebec, and the positionings that we've had on Bill 21 and some of the things that he's been governing as if the Anglophone community is not part of Quebec. And so that support, we have to take it for what it is.
Well, yeah, but you're talking about the Anglophone community, whereas this is an overall, right?
It is.
We represent a drop in that bucket.
That's what it is. And up to now, the Francophones who are responding to his government have nothing else to go up against.
I would think that touching upon what Egbert said is that if you break down this poll, I'm sure he's even higher among Francophones than he is Anglophones.
Sure.
Of course,
And I think Egbert's right, is that right now he doesn't have an opponent. At the same time, he's had a lot of issues which have really had a chance for him to shine, right? The federal election, he got to stand up to Jason Kenney, he got to speak for Quebecers. But whether you agree with him or not, he was able to say, I represent Quebecers. I remember there was even, the one thing the CAC I think has done well is that they've used him for a lot of positive and a lot of defending Quebec issues. I remember there was an issue where there was a social housing issue or something, and he came out and went after the Chambre de Commerce and says, hey, he says, I'm going to defend the poor guys. This is Legault from the right wing, and he's done a good job. And I think he's in terms of his branding. I say whether you agree with him or not. And at the same time, the Liberals still haven't chosen a leader yet. Arcan is the interim. PQ hasn't chosen a leader yet, and Quebec Solidaire really is, I think, the only opposition right now, but they're not a force for Legault.
Well, chances are, if you support the CAQ, your second choice isn't Solidaire.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Well, the point is, he's also a strong man. He's also projecting the image of a strong, big, strong politician. I think so much politics today is about the strong man. And I think that he, at some point, would stand up in certain ways for Quebec, but he's certain positioning himself in the middle. Like he says consistently that I'm not a sovereignist, but I'm a nationalist. And that appeals to certain people along different lines, and so it's not surprising that he's as popular as he is.
Well, he's also definitely a populist.
In a
way that we haven't seen from local leadership.
And that's a strong man. That's the guy.
And he comes off really well at that. And he plays that role really well. And with the federal election, which we just had, he was, it was really Trudeau that won most of the seats in Quebec, and of course the Bloc. And here comes Legault, who says he almost steals away a bit of the thunder from the Bloc to sort of say, I'm going to defend Quebec interests. And he did that well with Kenney, right? When he met with him, and he met, of course, with Ford.
Yeah, he did it also with Justin Trudeau.
He's been doing it publicly, and a lot of people, when they say whether they agree with him or not, I think he's really defending Quebec. And if you break down this poll, I'm sure his numbers are quite high among the Francophone community.
Absolutely. For him to tell Trudeau, to say to Trudeau, well, you have to not challenge Bill 21. in order to retain your popularity. And for Trudeau not to say anything, not to respond to that, I think he walked away looking really, really good.
Let's go to the doctor on the next segment here. Info Santé is reporting that all 3 major English hospitals in the city are functioning way over capacity, some up to 130%. 2 reasons, as always: people with the flu and gastro are showing up in droves and shouldn't be, and doctors who take vacation at Christmas time. Guys, should doctors be barred from going away this time of year? Jimmy, we'll start with you.
I think that the hospitals know when they're busy. This is nothing new. I heard the report this morning. I think some hospitals were, the lowest was 119%, 130%. Like and even the ones that are 100%, I mean, you're talking about a 10 to 13 hour wait sometimes, right? So when it's busy, have your people there. Make sure people don't go away this time of the year. I think we can do a better job. I get it that people are going to the hospital with the flu, the gastro too, but it's not just that. They're not even being seen in 10 or 12 hours to be told to stay home. They get seen, they sit down for 10 hours, then they're told, sorry, we can't help you, take 2 aspirin, with the flu or whatever.
Right.
So the thing is, they got to have enough staff, and the people that are there. I've been to the hospital during this time of the year. They're doing a fantastic job, but they're really, really overwhelmed.
But doctors have to go on vacation. Doctors are family individuals, so they have to be with their families. They have to do stuff that every person is allowed to do. The challenge here is not about the doctors taking vacation. It's bad organization. We have a management at the hospital levels that have seen this recurring phenomenon of they have to organize better. We have to get people into the clinics. You have to get people to call in for Sante. You have to get all the steps before they get to the hospital. And that's what it is. It's not happening. People are getting to the hospitals because it's the one option that they see. That shouldn't be. Quebec has a number of steps before you get to a hospital, and that's not being implemented properly.
Do you think people who are studying to be doctors would say, "Oh, I have to work Christmas. Forget this. I'm going to become a..."
No.
Well, they shouldn't. No. But it shouldn't be though. The point here is doctors should have the regular allocation of holidays like anyone else. What you want is better planning. You want management to plan how people are going to get treated during holiday high periods.
That's right, and we know that this is a high period. This shouldn't be a surprise.
Exactly.
The hospital should be dealing with the doctors. Say, look, this is how many doctors we need on staff. This is what every year. I'm sure the number's the same. I'd be surprised if that changes.
Send me your text messages on this, Montreal. I want to hear from you on whether doctors should be barred from going away at Christmas time. Let's move on here. Can you guys? Here's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Let me rephrase. Let me start over. Take a breath. Get ready for the onslaught of text messages from this one. Can you be a good Christian and still support Donald Trump? There was a major leading Christian evangelical publication this week called Christianity Today that basically stripped any endorsement of the president and said this man's views do not line up with evangelical Christian views, and the quicker we see that, the better off we'll all be. Trump said he will now be stopping reading E.T., not C.T., but E.T.
Yeah.
So phone home, Donald.
Yes, you can still be a good Christian and still support Donald Trump. And I go back a few years, and I'm sure there's other cases. I remember when John Kerry was running for president, he was going to be in the Midwest, and the Archbishop, because he's Catholic, the Bishop of the Midwest said, well, if he comes to my church for communion, I'm not giving him communion because he supports a woman's right to choose. So I think there are times where we can say that we don't agree with the presidential candidate, and in Donald Trump's case, it's pretty easy. I mean, the language he uses, the way he acts and everything, it's not just a good Christian. I think a lot of people should question it, but that's a personal choice. But at the same time, I think you can question, but it doesn't mean you're not a good Christian because you support Donald Trump.
Can you still be a good Christian and support the President of the United States? I asked Jimmy. He said yes. We're going to ask Egbert right now.
Yes, but I said.
Yes, but. Yes, but. We'll get more into that but because the question could be, can you be a good... Can you believe in religion? Can you believe in the goodness of religion and also lock up children in cages? There are many ways to ask this question.
I think that's the answer. That's the answer there.
That's a good
you
question.
cannot be a good Christian and support Donald Trump. You can't be. The compromises that you have to make They are too great. There are too many compromises that you have to do on a moral and religious basis. You can, I think we have to stop equating the evangelical thrust with Christianity. It's not so much. Look, Donald Trump represents a lot that is bad in humanity. Where his approach to race, his approach to women, his approach to children. You might like his politics, but he's not a nice guy. He has never been a nice guy.
But I never said he was a nice guy. I'm
talking about once you equate that to Christianity, where Christianity asks that you try to be.
Which president then was nice, right? That the presidents have sent people in harm's way, have had people killed. Whether it be
100%.
starting wars. I mean, George W. Bush pretty much faked a war.
Yes.
Democrats, if you look historically, have started more wars than Republicans have. You can go back and we can make this argument all along the lines. I think there's a certain position that comes with that office.
So you're saying there should be, can you be a good Christian and support American foreign policy?
No, but that's not the question. What you have to see is, you have to understand that this guy has support of 85% of evangelicals or more.
Well, without
right?
a doubt, it's one of the more solid groups that supports.
It's solid, and that's what it's overwhelming. So, but I'm saying
I actually find it encouraging that evangelicals are leaving Donald Trump.
Right.
But
They might not vote for the
hypocritical.
Democrats. They might not vote for the Democrats, but if they stay home, that creates a huge problem for them in a lot of tight
Absolutely.
races and
Absolutely.
fundraising.
But look at the hypocrisy in the whole thing. Here's a group of people that's supporting a guy that is outwardly not a nice guy, and he's never tried to be nice. He's never lied about who he is, and So I say they support him because of whatever they want, because of
individuals' interests that are served by the group. So
That's what it
I
is.
spent a fair amount of time this week on an airplane, and I listened to a wonderful podcast called Slow Burn, and it was all about the Clinton-Lewinsky affair and the impeachment, and it was really interesting to listen to this at the same time as the current president was being impeached, and hearing the way that the Christian right went after Bill Clinton from a morality aspect. So you compare that with today,
their approach to Donald Trump.
with President Stormy Daniels right now.
And you see the hypocrisy. So you cannot talk about the godlike potential in man, which is what Christianity asks you to do. Go towards the godlike potential in you. And be supportive of this guy. This guy's a bad guy.
But one of the things I've always found interesting is that a number of people support him because he's a Republican, but there are a lot of good Republicans, right? I may not agree, but there are a lot of. But we can't lump everybody into the same. The way there's some good Democrats and there's some bad Democrats, and one of the things is that it always comes down to with Donald Trump is that he's become the choice of the right wing, and it's so polarized that you're either with us or you're against us, right? There's no middle ground, and that's the part I really hate about politics in the last little while, and I think we're seeing it a bit here too. And we're seeing it everywhere, is that there's no more gray. It's always black or white now.
If we go back to the Legault comment from the start of the show with his 63% support, the mayor of Montreal, it's either love her or hate her. There seems to be no middle ground.
Well, yeah, but I think with Trump, and there are not a lot of good Republicans, because not one Republican of significance would stand up to Donald Trump. And that makes them all bad people. And I understand political expediency. That's fine. They want to get elected. That's the number one rule in politics. Get me elected. But how can you be a good guy? How can you be pro-America and watch a man totally destroying the democratic foundation of a country that you profess to love? So those Republicans who are good, I question that. And especially those Christian people. Oh, God.
Let's continue. A Saskatchewan school division has apologized after parents raised concerns that a Christmas concert last week had an anti-oil agenda. The name of the production, Santa Goes Green. Is a Christmas concert about being eco-friendly too political for 2019?
You know what I love about all these things? You hear these stories sometimes. Santa Claus should be white. Santa Claus should be black. Santa Claus should be a woman. Santa Claus should be this.
Right.
The kids don't care. The kids want somebody up there in a red suit who's going to say, what do you want for Christmas? And whatever. The kids don't care. This is the parents. Somebody decided to have a theme, go green. Everybody is going green these days. The right-wing parties are going green. The left-wing, everybody is trying to do something for the environment. Maybe not as much in Saskatchewan or Alberta, but let the kids have some fun. Stop this. It's insanity. The kids don't care. It's the parents that care.
This is going to lead to the Rough Riders changing their uniform colors, isn't it?
That's right. That's
exactly.
right.
Well, you know, look, it's a serious question, though, because climate change is the number one issue for all Canadians. 80% of all Canadians say climate change is the deal.
Especially young people.
Exactly. The summers are hot, the winters are weird, and everything is going all crazy on us. We have to be mindful of climate change and the environment. The kids are on the right track. This Christmas concert is the right thing to do. We have to look at the promiscuous giving that we indulge in, the promiscuous buying, and you know, all those sort of indulgences. The kids, they're doing the right thing. They're mindful that Santa Claus might have to up his game.
But the school apologized.
Well, that's the influence of those guys. That's the influence of Big Oil. Big Oil is going to come at you. So it's not just this dad who is tweeting something or Facebooking or whatever he's doing. It's you know, the influence of Big Oil is saying, look, you gotta watch your step. You
had a little added into the program. Santa does not drive a Prius; he drives a Ford F-150.
Yeah.
You know,
that's right.
But the kids are on the right track. They're doing the right thing. They are saying that. Listen,
my sled uses Alberta oil.
That's
you
right,
know,
that's right.
It's not electric.
None of that
it's not
soundy garbage.
They said that, listen, the oil should stay in the ground, and that's what it is. They have the right message.
A couple of topics left on the Big Five. Joined this morning, I'm Dave Kaufman. Joined this morning by Jimmy Zoubris and Egbert Gaye. Shameless influencers are facing a backlash for promoting a Saudi Arabian music festival. This includes Instagram models and some movie stars like Armie Hammer. Are these celebrities and influencers to blame for helping to improve the image of Saudi Arabia abroad?
But I saw this quickly. I think what they were touching on is not the politics of Saudi Arabia, but rather their music and cultural scene, right? And can we make a distinction between the two? One of the things Iran is another case where I think they have like the second or third largest, after Bollywood and Hollywood, third largest production for movies in the world, right? So can we leave the cultural side from the political side? There's a very fine line. I get that, but
no, my issue with this, when I saw the story this weekend, was the idea that Hollywood stars are being
paid
through PR firms to help bolster the image of Saudi Arabia at the same time as this morning. The first update I got on my phone when I woke up was a Washington Post update saying that 5 people have been sentenced to death for the death of Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi. None of those 5 people are the ones I'd imagine that are responsible. That said, let's take care of this guy.
Somebody gonna get the fall for what's his name, MSB,
MBS.
MBS.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So look, and I'm like Jimmy. I'm kind of torn on this. I'm not sure where to go. But American culture, America has been promoting its culture as be like Mike. You want to be like Mike. You want to be able to play basketball like him. You want to be able to sing like Michael Jackson. American culture is dominant around the world. America is not a good place for poor people, black people, and a lot of people are challenged in America in ways that they shouldn't be. So, you know, that separation of culture and politics is easy in the United States, but they find time and they try to promote.
I think I think these celebrities and influencers have to maybe pick their clients a little better. I mean, we have we have a huge issue going on now with Saudi Arabia in terms of human rights,
because it's super weird, and anybody who's aware of what's going on in the world and then sees Instagram stars, Instagram models talking about how liberating and free
What about those Walmart places down in the south of
But
the
why
United
the-
States
hold on,
that
why-
are filled with children?
Egbert, if
that
I
are
may-
all those kids are not going to see Santa Claus this Christmas.
Egbert, but why the whataboutism?
The
Why,
what?
why is it? Why the whataboutism? Why is it that we can't just talk about Saudi Arabia without going, well, look how bad somewhere else is?
Well, we
I mean,
we
there's
don't.
a- there's
I wish we live in a world where it was only about Saudi Arabia.
No, but there's a Canadian citizen whose wife lives in Sherbrooke, Quebec, who's now been in jail for how long? 10 years? 10,000 lashes until he gets
How
released?
many Mexican kids? and
Okay, so we are
South
doing the
American
whataboutism.
kids- Yeah,
Okay.
we have to.
Okay.
We cannot
Okay.
divorce
I
one
don't-
from the other.
I don't agree with you.
because-
I don't
but
agree
I know
with
you
you.
don't, but
But,
we can't pick at someone's culture and say, well, it's
But
good
it's
for
not the
America
culture.
to do
It's
it.
not the culture. It's the country, Saudi Arabia. And I think we have to start maybe putting some pressure on the government that it's not just about money. It's not
Maybe.
just about oil.
Maybe.
Oh no, we have
Canada,
to.
Canada is not putting pressure. The
Nothing.
United States is not putting pressure.
Not enough.
They're not doing anything about
Correct.
MSB or what's his name?
MBS.
MBS.
But look,
they're not doing anything about him. And you're asking the people who want to go to a concert to stand against him? No, it doesn't make sense, of course.
Look, at the end of the day, I think we're going to find out that MBS and a lot of
Yeah.
that money is what's propping up the current president.
Well, you know,
And that tie-in is very messed up in the way that there was a purge in their government a couple of years ago after consultations with Jared Kushner. There's a lot of sketchy business
I know that. I know
between
that.
Saudi Arabia and the United States, Canada, and frankly,
Canada, we sell stuff
with
to
our
them.
billions of stuff.
We sell some bad stuff
we
to
sell
them.
light armored vehicles
Exactly.
to the Saudis.
Yeah.
Light armored vehicles. And I'll tell you what, the last time I saw that in the news, they hadn't even paid for them yet. We delivered them, and they hadn't paid for them. We're going to finish off on something a little bit softer, okay? Jimmy, I know we're supposed to go tomorrow night to go see Cats together.
Yes.
Yeah,
We have a date.
We have
Yeah,
a date.
We're dressing up and everything.
So I want to know, Cats has gotten universally panned in the couple of days it's been out. Even something like they rushed it to theaters, so the graphics, the special effects weren't all done. There are scenes where you can see Judi Dench's hand and
God.
wedding ring on her finger.
I
What's the worst movie you ever saw in the theaters?
Stoker Race, Burt Reynolds. Do you remember that?
No.
Oh, god awful.
Really?
I saw Ishtar. God awful.
You saw Ishtar.
Actually, it was it was my first date with my wife, but we weren't on a date. So she still to this day like brings it up.
She
to me.
married you?
She married me after that. Can you imagine this?
Amazing.
Ishtar, Stoker Race was a Burt Reynolds film with Lonnie Anderson. I walked out on it. It was just so god awful.
And you,
I'm
Egbert?
trying to figure it out. Huh?
Okay.
Oh God, I'm not a big movie guy. What's the worst I've seen? I've seen some really bad ones, though. really bad.
Nothing
ones.
you can think of off the top of your head?
But those are the two that I remember. Ishtar, I saw.
You
the
mean
whole
in
thing.
general?
I walked out.
Yeah.
I walked out.
The only movie I ever walked out of, Jimmy, was David Cronenberg's Crash.
Oh, that was horrible.
It was at the Lowe's Theater downtown, and these people are enjoying car crashes and getting what? No,
Yeah.
Dr. Lorry couldn't explain the sexuality behind that one for me. So
I'm not big on
that's
movies.
by far
Yeah.
the worst.
But I got to
one
tell
I've
you,
ever seen.
but I saw The Irishman this year.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Good.
I loved
I
it.
saw that.
I loved it.
3 hours of that. I really enjoyed it.
Joe
Can't
Pesci.
say I really
Joe
love it,
Pesci
but-
in a different
Oh,
role.
the
was-
acting was amazing.
Joe Pesci is just
was
something.
amazing. Yeah,
Hey guys, thank you both.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'll see you at the movies.
All the best.